Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Jefferson nickel that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're about to reveal the story of a seemingly humble coin, the United States 5 cent from 1971, that could be sitting in your collection, and you might not even know it. So, grab your magnifying glass, because this is going to be a thrilling ride into the world of rare coins and their unbelievable worth. At first glance, the 1971 United States 5 cent coin, or commonly known as the nickel, might seem like just another standard piece of American currency. After all, it's been in circulation for decades, right? Well, you couldn't be more wrong. While it's easy to pass by these coins in your pocket change, some of them hold incredible value, far beyond their original face value. Now, let's talk about why this particular coin, minted in 1971, is not just another nickel. The key to its worth lies in its rarity and the specific factors that set it apart from other coins from the same year. What makes this 5 cent piece so special? Let's break it down. The 1971 nickel was issued as part of the standard circulation series, and millions of them were made. However, what most people don't realize is that there was a specific set of circumstances during its production that led to certain unique versions of the coin being created, versions that collectors now chase after with fervor. One of the biggest factors that play a role in determining the value of this coin is its rarity. You see, while the 1971 nickel was produced in large numbers, only a small fraction of them have survived in pristine condition, free from the wear and tear of daily use. Coins that have been circulated for years often show signs of damage, scratches, dents, discoloration, but those that remain untouched, in uncirculated condition, are highly coveted by collectors. Even more intriguing are the minting errors that occurred during the production of some of these 1971 nickels. Minting errors are rare, and when they happen, they can make a coin exponentially more valuable. Imagine finding a 1971 nickel with a double die error or an off-center strike. Errors like these are like finding a diamond in the rough. These mistakes, which were originally produced in the minting process, can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into a highly valuable collectible. For instance, the famous double die errors are when the design appears twice, creating a blurry, distorted effect. This makes the coin a mule, or a coin that didn't meet the minting standard, and is incredibly rare. Coins with such errors can be extremely valuable in the marketplace, and collectors will go to great lengths to find one of these rare mistakes. Another feature that makes this coin stand out is the condition of the coin itself. As with all collectibles, the better the condition, the higher the value. While a worn-down, heavily circulated 1971 nickel might fetch only a few cents, a pristine, uncirculated example can demand much higher prices. But here's the kicker. If that coin has a minting error or any unique feature that makes it stand out from the others, the price skyrockets. It's not just about how many of these coins are out there, it's about the condition, the rarity, and those delightful little quirks that make collectors drool. If you happen to have a 1971 nickel with one of these errors or in perfect condition, you could be looking at a serious payday. Now, here's the moment you've all been waiting for, the big reveal. If you have a 1971 United States 5 cent coin in uncirculated condition, or even one with a rare minting error like a double die, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Some of these coins have sold for as much as $69,000, yes, you heard that right, $69,000 for a single 5 cent coin from 1971. Just imagine that, a small, seemingly ordinary nickel from the 1970s, turning into a massive payday for the lucky collector who discovers it. This is a perfect example of why coin collecting can be so thrilling. What may look like a regular, everyday coin can be hiding a treasure worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting out, the 1971 nickel is a reminder that hidden treasures are often right under our noses. So, make sure to check your collections carefully. Who knows? You might have one of these rare and valuable coins sitting in your drawer, waiting to be discovered. Top 2, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare American coins, and we've got a real gem to talk about, the 1985 United States 5 cent, also known as the nickel. Now, before you think it's just another nickel from the 80s, hold your horses. This coin is far more special than you might think, and if you're a collector, you'll definitely want to stick around for this one. You see, while the 1985 nickel seems like just another regular coin to most people, it has a story that is worth way more than its face value. So, grab your magnifying glass and settle in, because by the end of this video, you might just have a completely different perspective on this tiny 5-cent piece. Let's dive into the details of this 1985 nickel and uncover why it could be worth thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right, the 1985 nickel was minted as part of the regular US coin series, with millions produced that year. But like many coins in circulation, most of them were used for everyday transactions and eventually worn down from constant handling. You probably have a few of these nickels in your spare change, but here's the catch: not all 1985 nickels are created equal. And here's why: rare coins don't just pop up every day. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that stand out from the rest, and the 1985 nickel has a few unique characteristics that make it incredibly valuable to the right collector. Let's start with rarity. While the US Mint produced a large number of 1985 nickels, finding one that's in exceptional condition is a different story. Most of the coins from that year have been circulated, damaged, or worn over time. But there's a small group of 1985 nickels that managed to survive in pristine, uncirculated condition. These coins have hardly seen the light of day: no scratches, no dents, no discoloration. And if you happen to have one of these untouched beauties in your collection, you could be looking at a serious windfall. Now, let's talk about minting errors. Every collector knows that errors are what really make a coin stand out, and the 1985 nickel is no exception. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, and the result is a coin that doesn't meet the normal standards. These types of coins are incredibly valuable because they are one of a kind. Some of the most sought-after errors in the 1985 nickel include things like double die errors and off-center strikes. A double die error happens when the coin's design is struck twice, resulting in a blurry or duplicated image on the coin. This type of error is a big deal in the coin collecting world because it creates a unique piece that doesn't look like anything else. If you find a 1985 nickel with a double die error, you could have a highly valuable treasure on your hands. Another common error to look for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the blank planchet, the flat metal disc before it's struck, is not properly aligned during the minting process. The result is a coin where the design is off-center, making it an eye-catching anomaly that stands out among the regular, properly minted coins. These errors are highly desirable to collectors, especially if the off-center strike is significant enough to make the coin appear noticeably different from the norm, but the value doesn't stop there. Even if the coin doesn't have a minting error, its value is largely determined by its condition. Coins that are well preserved, those that look almost as good as the day they were minted, are highly sought after. Think of it like a rare vintage car: the better the condition, the more money it can fetch. If your 1985 nickel is in mint condition, free from any signs of wear, then you're holding on to something very special. So, you might be wondering, how much is this 1985 nickel really worth? Well, the answer might just blow your mind. If you've got a 1985 nickel that's in perfect, uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a value of up to $63,000. Yes, that's right, $63,000 for a 5-cent piece from 1985. That's the kind of hidden value that many coin collectors dream of, and it could be waiting for you in your very own collection. So, the next time you come across a 1985 nickel, take a closer look. You might just have a rare and valuable treasure in your hands without even realizing it. Top 3, we've got a real treat for you, a coin that's been hiding in plain sight for years, and it's more valuable than you might imagine. We're talking about the United States 5-cent coin from 1995. At first glance, it might just seem like another ordinary nickel, but trust us when we say, this little coin packs a punch when it comes to rarity and value. You've probably come across a 1995 nickel at some point, right? After all, millions were minted that year. But here's where things get interesting. While the majority of these coins are worth just 5 cents, a select few have managed to escape the wear and tear of everyday use and have survived in exceptional condition. And those coins? They're worth far more than you'd think. But the value doesn't stop there. What really makes this coin stand out are the rare minting errors that can turn a simple 1995 nickel into a collector's dream. Let's take a deep dive into what makes the 1995 nickel so special. First, let's talk about its history. The 1995 nickel was part of the regular circulation series, which means millions of these coins were produced for everyday transactions. But unlike some other coins that were made for specific commemorative purposes or limited releases, this nickel didn't stand out to most people at the time. Most of these coins were used, tossed in pockets, spent at stores, and eventually discarded. But for collectors, this is where the story gets really interesting. The true value of a 1995 nickel lies in its rarity. Most of these coins have been in circulation for decades, which means they've gone through a lot of wear and tear. Scratches, dents, discoloration, these are all signs of a well-traveled coin. But coins that have stayed in pristine condition, unaffected by the usual bumps and bruises, are extremely rare. These near-perfect coins are highly sought after by collectors because, as you might guess, they are in short supply. But wait, there's more. Not all 1995 nickels are created equal. Some of them come with minting errors that make them even more valuable. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process, and the result is a coin that's different from the others. These errors are highly prized in the world of coin collecting because they are unique, one-of-a-kind pieces. And the 1995 nickel is no exception. One of the most coveted errors on a 1995 nickel is the double die error. This happens when the design is struck multiple times, causing the image to appear blurry or duplicated. A double die error on a 1995 nickel can make it incredibly rare and valuable because it's a clear indication that the coin was produced with a flaw that's not commonly found on other nickels. Another error to look out for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be struck off-center. Off-center strikes create a distinctive look, and collectors love these quirky, unusual coins because they are so different from regular issues. A well-executed off-center strike on a 1995 nickel could send its value soaring, but even if your 1995 nickel doesn't have any errors, it's still worth paying attention to. The overall condition of the coin is a major factor in determining its value. Coins that have been kept in mint condition, without any signs of wear, are always worth more than their circulated counterparts. For a coin to be considered mint, it should look almost as if it were freshly minted, no scratches, no marks, just perfect, shiny surfaces. If you've got a 1995 nickel in this condition, you're definitely in luck. So, how much could a 1995 nickel really be worth? Well, if you've got one in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a minting error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be holding something that's worth far more than its face value. In fact, some of these rare coins have been sold for as much as $53,000, yes, you heard that right, $53,000 for a single 5-cent coin from 1995. That's a lot of money for a coin that's so small, right? But that's the beauty of coin collecting. You never know what treasures you might have hidden away in your collection. Imagine finding one of these rare coins tucked away in your jar of spare change. It's not just about the thrill of the hunt, it's about the potential to discover a small fortune hiding in the most unexpected places. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, always remember to pay close attention to the details. The right coin, in the right condition, with the right error, can be worth a lot more than you'd expect. Top 4. We're going to talk about an often overlooked coin that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. We're talking about the United States 5-cent coin from 2002. Now, at first glance, it may seem like just another nickel from the early 2000s, but trust me, there's much more to this little coin than meets the eye. Today, we're going to explore why this coin is more than just pocket change and why it could potentially be worth a small fortune. So, why should you care about a 5-cent coin from 2002? Well, that's because not all nickels are created equal, and this one has some hidden secrets that could make it incredibly valuable to the right collector. The story behind this coin lies in its rarity, the condition it's in, and some fascinating minting errors that can make it stand out from the millions of others that were produced that year. You might have one of these rare gems sitting in your collection or even your pocket right now without realizing it, so keep watching to find out exactly what makes this 2002 nickel so special. First, let's talk about the rarity factor. The US Mint produced millions of 2002 nickels for circulation, just like any other year. These coins were used in everyday transactions, spent in vending machines, and tossed around in pocket change. So, finding a 2002 nickel in its regular, circulated form isn't particularly rare. However, as with any coin, the condition is what sets some of them apart. If you've got a 2002 nickel that has remained in excellent condition, you're ahead of the game. Now, we all know that coins go through a lot of wear and tear, especially when they're in circulation. Over the years, nickels get scratched, tarnished, and sometimes even bent or damaged. But coins that have managed to stay in uncirculated condition are a rare find. These coins are like pristine time capsules from the past, and collectors go wild for them. The value of a 2002 nickel in mint condition, free from any signs of handling, can be significantly higher than its face value. So, if you happen to have one of these untouched coins in your collection, it could be worth a lot more than just 5 cents, but there's more. Minting errors are where things really start to get exciting. You see, during the coin production process, sometimes things don't go exactly as planned, and that's where errors happen. Minting errors are incredibly valuable in the world of coin collecting because they create coins that are unique and don't match the standard. These kinds of coins are rare, and when they appear, they often have collectors clamoring to get their hands on them. One of the most notable errors that can occur on a 2002 nickel is the double die error. This happens when the design is struck twice during the minting process, causing the image to appear blurry or doubled. The result is a coin that looks unlike any other, with a distinct and unusual design. A 2002 nickel with a double die error is an incredibly rare find, and it can dramatically increase the value of the coin. Collectors are always on the lookout for these types of errors, and a well-preserved double die 2002 nickel can fetch a high price at auctions. Another error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the metal blank, or planchet, is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be struck off-center. The result is a coin with a design that's shifted to one side. Off-center strikes can vary in degree, but even a small misalignment can make a coin incredibly interesting and valuable. If you find a 2002 nickel with an off-center strike, it could be worth much more than you'd expect. So, you might be wondering, how much could a 2002 nickel actually be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to find one in perfect, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be looking at a price far beyond the 5-cent value. In fact, some of these rare coins have been known to sell for as much as $50,000, yes, you heard that right, $50,000 for a single 2002 5-cent coin. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin, which most people might overlook, could be worth so much money. And that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. What seems like an ordinary piece of currency could turn out to be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. So, next time you come across a 2002 nickel, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. You might have a rare, uncirculated coin or, even better, a coin with a minting error that could be worth a small fortune. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know what you might find. Top 5 and last rare coin, we're going to talk about a coin that might just surprise you, the United States 5-cent coin from 1990. Now, you might think of it as just another regular nickel, but let me tell you, this coin is anything but ordinary. If you're into coin collecting, stick around, because this nickel has a hidden story and a value that might just blow your mind. Let's start with a little history. The 1990 nickel was minted as part of the regular coin series, designed by Felix Schlag, and like most nickels, it was made for circulation. However, this particular coin was issued in a time when the U.S. economy was undergoing various changes. The early 1990s were a period of economic transition, and this small coin from 1990 holds a snapshot of that era in the U.S. history. But that's not what makes it valuable. The real value comes from rarity, condition, and some interesting errors that could turn this seemingly regular coin into a collector's dream. When it comes to any coin, one of the key elements to determining its value is rarity. The 1990 nickel wasn't minted as a limited edition or commemorative coin, it was part of the regular series. However, despite the fact that millions of these coins were minted, not all of them have survived in pristine condition. Most of the 1990 nickels you'll find today are worn down from years of being in circulation. Scratches, discoloration, and signs of use are common, which means that the number of 1,990 nickels in excellent, uncirculated condition is actually quite rare. But why does condition matter so much? Well, for collectors, the better the condition, the higher the value. Just like a vintage car that's been carefully preserved, a 1990 nickel in mint condition, one that has barely been touched by time, can be incredibly valuable. It's not just a coin, it's a time capsule that has been perfectly preserved for over 3 decades. A coin that is free from damage or wear is something collectors eagerly seek, and the market rewards them handsomely for finding one. If you have one of these coins tucked away in your collection, you could be sitting on a rare treasure, but it doesn't end there. Minting errors are another reason why some 1990 nickels are worth a significant amount of money. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, and the result is a coin that doesn't meet the usual standards. These coins are highly desirable because they are one of a kind, and when they do show up, collectors jump at the chance to add them to their collections. One of the most valuable errors to look out for on a 1990 nickel is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is struck twice during the minting process, causing the image to appear blurry or even duplicated. A double die error on a 1990 nickel can make the coin extremely valuable because it's a clear sign that the coin was produced with a flaw that is not found in regular, standard mintings. If you happen to find a 1990 nickel with this type of error, you could be holding onto something that could fetch a premium price at an auction. Another error to look for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet, the blank metal disc used to strike the coin, doesn't align properly in the press. As a result, the design appears off-center, giving the coin a unique and unmistakable look. These off-center strikes are highly coveted by collectors because they are visually striking and rare. If you have a 1990 nickel with an off-center strike, it could make all the difference in its value. Now, let's get to the most exciting part. How much could a 1990 nickel really be worth? If you've got a 1990 nickel in perfect, uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a minting error like a double die or an off-center strike, you could be looking at a price tag that's way higher than you'd expect. Some of these rare coins have sold for as much as $58,000. Yes, you heard that right, $58,000 for a single 1995-cent coin. It's hard to believe that a coin that's worth just a few cents could have such an enormous value, but that's the magic of coin collecting. Coins with minting errors, especially those in excellent condition, can be worth a small fortune, and the 1990 nickel is no exception. So, what's the takeaway here? Next time you're sifting through your coin collection or checking your spare change, don't just overlook a 1990 nickel. Take a moment to really inspect it. Look for any signs of wear or, better yet, check if you have one that's in near perfect condition. Even more exciting, see if you can spot any minting errors, like a double die or an off-center strike. If you find one of these rare coins, you could be holding onto something that's worth way more than you ever expected. Thank you for joining us in today's deep dive into the 1990 nickel. We hope you found this information helpful and exciting. If you liked this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a coin discovery. Who knows, maybe your next coin find will be worth a lot more than you think. Happy hunting, and we'll see you in the next video.